Absolutely, man. So to kick things off, I do start with the same boring ass question every time. Simple introduction, bud. Who are you? And just a little background on yourself.
Um, Everyone knows me or may know me as Doobie. Come from the underground hip hop space. So if you're familiar with the Jelly Rolls, the Yellow Wolves, I was under that umbrella for the last decade of my career,
Hmm.
and now we are slowly transitioning into full rock space. Um, for those who have heard my music, it's always been very influenced by rock. Just never really took it all the way there. So now it's time to take it there.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned obviously growing up in the underground scene. Talk for people that aren't familiar, especially. I don't think Columbus gets the love for the underground scene that it should. Talk about
Yeah.
that scene, man, and just because it is kind of a crazy dichotomy of there's so much shit going on in Columbus.
The scene in Columbus to me is like, I don't know how to put it. The people who are actually really doing something who are from Columbus, 9 times out of 10 probably left Columbus and went back
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
it's a very, I don't know how, it's not um there's a lot of artists, but I wouldn't say that they're really driven to take their career to the next level.
There's a
Like,
there's a lot of residency bar guys, right? Like
yeah, that.
we're just gonna hang out every Friday. We're at this bar. Like, come check us out. Do another show.
Yeah, so it's still very, very local thing,
Yeah.
if you will. And but I mean, there's been some amazing bands and artists to come out of Columbus over the years, but it's just them ones who are willing to travel, willing to, because I mean, to keep it frank, there's not enough important people within the
Yeah.
music industry in Columbus,
Yeah.
as opposed to like in LA or Nashville or in
Hmm.
Atlanta, where there's
Yeah.
just a melting pot of all these creatives.
Yeah. But I think the thing that you hit on too, though, that really tells the story is like if you're driven enough to say like I can kind of fine tune it here, but I have to go outside to shine. And I think
Yeah.
that's the key.
Yeah, I think bringing it home is like important, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't have what a lot of these other places have when it comes to that. Like I was saying, the melting pot of all these creatives and people who are
Yeah.
actually doing real big shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's always been a goal of mine, is like bring it home. Let's create it. We really don't have it on the scale that it could be.
Yeah.
There's definitely potential, but that's one of my goals, is to bring that in there.
Yeah. Do you think it has anything to do with, the kind of the proximity of some of those other places, right? Like you're what, 4.5, 5 hours from Nashville. You're away,
Yeah.
5, 6 hours from Chicago, Detroit. Like you're just kind of in this weird middle ground, right?
Yeah, I think, well, and also too, like if you look at the majority of the people in the industry that are doing shit, all of them live either in one of the big melting pot cities like LA, Nashville, Atlanta, Florida,
Hmm.
right? Or Texas, but they usually are from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So you almost have to go to them big music cities to get a mentality, to learn like how it really works.
Yeah.
Because you'll never learn just sitting around making music with your buddies, not caring about the important stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So for you then, um, how do you kind of explain the massive following that you've been able to build through all that, right? Through those trials of having the smaller community.
So I moved to LA not by choice. I was on the road, and tour ended short, and we just were broke. I didn't have any money, and we ended up, I think when the tour got canceled, we were in Vegas. We only had a few more shows left, but it got canceled early.
Yeah.
So because we were so far from Ohio, we couldn't make it home. I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the funds, and so I didn't have no one to lean on as far as that. It was just a group of us, chasing a dream. And a buddy of mine said, "Hey, you can crash at my spot in LA for until you get on your feet." We went and stayed with him, and he put us out. I feel like we overstayed our welcome. It was about like four of us, five of us. So
Yeah,
one bedroom apartment, that gets tiring. You know what I'm
for sure.
saying?
Yeah,
We moved out. We got an investor to basically get us a house. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And we were still sleeping on air mattresses and stuff. I went up to blow up my air mattress and checked my video, and it was just like going viral. And I was like, I just kept refreshing it. Like, I think there's a glitch. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And from that moment on, I later, went on to become YouTube's artist on the rise. And after that, I just kept dropping content, and it was working. It was crazy for real. I
Yeah,
still don't know how. Like, I just woke up to put air in my air mattress, and that's just what was happening. You
yeah,
know, I can't contribute it to nothing.
yeah. It's I have to make the joke. Since you mentioned air mattresses, I saw a meme the other day that said air mattresses are great for when you want to sleep on the floor, just not immediately, because there's
Yeah.
not an air mattress out there that holds air the whole fucking night.
Hold on one
Yeah, you're
second.
good. You're good.
Yo, my fault.
You're good. No worries, man. But yeah, there's not an air mattress out there that holds air the entire fucking night. Like you're going to be on
No,
the floor.
anyone who's ever slept on one, you know that you're gonna wake up two, three times in the middle of your sleep having to blow that thing up, man. That
Yep.
shit is no joke. And we
It's
had
awful.
tile floors because we were living
Oh,
in Los Angeles.
yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll age you real quick, won't it? Waking up on a tile floor.
Oh man, you go from 13 to 46.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Um, you mentioned content. Let's talk about that because I think we're in this age, right, where content is king. Sometimes it doesn't even matter how good the music is if you're hitting the right content. What's
Yeah.
that been like for you figuring out? Not saying that the music's not good because I do think it's incredible, but like what's it like trying to figure out what piece of music is going to work with my content? How am I going to, direct this stuff?
It's trickier now. So when I went viral, it was the beginning of the SoundCloud era or in the middle
Yeah.
of the prime of that era. And we were slowly transitioning into TikTok, but TikTok wasn't a thing. I remember like Triller had been out, but TikTok
Mhm.
was still kind of like, gaining
Was it
its
still
traction.
musically at that time?
Yeah, there was. But like at that time, I was really more or less focused on the YouTube aspect
Right.
because that was my bread and butter. That's where it was working. And then, after COVID in 2020, everyone transitioned into the TikTok thing. And now it's like almost if you're, it's a super job to the point where if you're not making, this certain amount of videos a day just for promo outside of your music video, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, then you're not going to be successful. It's the personality, it's not anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I've talked to several artists where they've made similar comments where it's like we'll put a ton of effort into one of our music TikToks and it
Yeah.
does nothing, but then we're fucking around at the gas station and it blows up.
It's weird. Me and my bros just talking about this. Like literally the overproduced shit is like the shit that doesn't do well as the organic shit.
Hmm.
I can literally drink this water. You recording this right now like this.
Right?
Be the biggest video on my TikTok.
Yeah.
It's
It
it's
it makes no sense.
there's no like true algorithm for real. It's just like a hey, whatever. Flick the lighter, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whatever's not normal.
Yeah. And it is crazy too, because like we get so hung up on that algorithm, but like you said, realistically, nobody's ever been able to show us what that algorithm really is and
No.
how to figure it out. So are we chasing the algorithm or are we just throwing shit against the wall and some of it sticks?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
obviously we're trying to get in the algorithm, but at the same time we don't know like what video is gonna do well and what's not, to be honest. Because like
Yeah.
every video I think is gonna be the best fucking video is usually not.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy how that shit is.
Well, and I think that's a good transition into the music side of stuff too, right? Because I'm sure you've ran into that where like you put together a song and, especially with the way your music is written with these, stories about your own life and whatnot. And then you put together a song and it's like, man, this one's heavy. People are going to fuck with it because like they're going to resonate. And then it flops and you go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's go talk about fucking bitches and I'm good. Like,
You know what's crazy? So that's why I kind of started getting frustrated with the rap thing, right? When I was viral, I was super drug addict, super really heavy into a lot of things that I obviously am not doing anymore.
yeah,
So like that aspect kind of started to get irritating because I got clean from hard drugs and I had a kid, so I'm at home all day with a newborn, completely not doing nearly nothing like
right.
of what I was doing. So I'd make music that was more like catered to what I was going through at that time, but then I'm noticing it's not doing as well as the older stuff, right? So then I go back to, okay, let's talk about fucking bitches, drugs, all
Yeah,
that. And then those songs will do the best. And you're like, dude, I don't want to have to do this for the rest of my life because I don't feel good about that. It's not who I
right.
am right now in my life. You know what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
rock kind of like gave me just gave me another source of telling my story, but in a way that I wanted to, because it's
Hmm.
more vulnerable in rock. You know,
Yeah,
they don't want to hear about you fucking bitches and shit like that. So it was
right.
like, perfect. This is where I need to be because this is where I'm at in life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, and that's great, man. That's one of the evolutions I wanted to talk about with you because, I've obviously read up on some of your story and, knew that you had gotten clean from the harder stuff and all of that. And I wanted you to talk about that a little bit. I run a second podcast called Musicians for Mental Health. So it's a big, we talk about
Sick.
addiction and stuff like that. So for you, like going through all of that and like is it almost a at that time was it almost like a self-inflicted like I can only write music when I get high, so now I have to get high to make music and just
Man.
kind of trap yourself in a circle with that?
Oh my God, it's so funny. I was just thinking about this today. I had a session earlier, and most of my sessions lately, unless I'm like drinking a beer or something, I try to at least just drink water and be as sober as can be for like the writing and
Yeah.
the singing aspect. And I just thought about this earlier. I was like, man, it's crazy. I never thought I was going to get to a point where I'd have enough confidence to not have to do anything and still be able to provide a credible music, that
Yeah.
that was still as good or if not even better. And to be honest, when I did get clean, I really genuinely felt like I couldn't make music anymore. I was like, what do I talk about? What is the vibes like? It was so frustrating, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And now I'm getting to a point where I feel like the normal me's back. And I thought that was the normal me. And this
Hmm.
is the version, like, this is the me that I always been. I just never allowed myself to see it,
Yeah.
But definitely feel like that. I was scared. When I stopped doing drugs, I was like, not only is the drugs and the party over, but like, I think my music career is over. Like, it's kind of
Right.
scaring me a little bit. I don't know what else I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that sounds a lot like, it's imposter syndrome, right? Like I'm not good enough on my own. Like I need
Yeah.
this thing to be my crutch. Do you like I listen to all types of music, obviously you do too, but like do you feel like part of that was the hip hop influence too, where like you almost felt like you had to be a part of that type of culture?
I do and don't because I feel like when I first started like releasing music, it was very vulnerable. Like it was very open. I wasn't
Yeah.
really steering away from nothing. But then the SoundCloud era hit and it seemed like, we had the Juice Worlds, the XXX, the Trippy Red, the Lil Pump, and every one of those artists are literally glorifying doing drugs. I
Right.
mean, it's just something that especially in that era of hip hop, was at the time the biggest thing, and you had your little peeps, everyone was
Hmm.
glorifying using drugs. And I was like, oh, cool. Now I can say it and no one will be mad at me. So I was
Right.
like, hey, let's just push it to the limit. But it was definitely what was going on around me, and in that hip hop space at that time, especially living in LA, that's just what everyone was fucking doing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So then as you get clean and you start making this transition to the rock world, like you said, you get to be a little more vulnerable in the sense that most rock fans don't give a shit about the fucking bitches and
Yeah.
taking lines or anything like that. So what's it been like to like be able to allow yourself back into that vulnerable space without the need to ride the crutch?
It's kind of wild because I feel like a huge majority of the rock guys are either completely sober or clean from something,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like wild that it's like super relatable, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then again, you still have your people who are obviously they're still working on some things, But that is one thing I've noticed, especially I don't know, a lot of the bands I look up to is like, oh, I can get to that point one day. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, and then you have the flip side too, like your idols who obviously fell short because they weren't able to, get into that good headspace. Like Lane Staley is my favorite singer of all time, and like
Yeah.
if if he was able to get his head together, he would still be with us, and it's just like something to think about.
Yeah, and I think, like obviously everybody has their own stuff they have to work through and all of that. But I think it is one of those weird kind of like unless you're in it, I don't think you understand it. And obviously you've been in it where like you
Yeah,
almost need a coping mechanism in order to deal with what you're dealing with.
yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, and as an artist, we put ourselves through the worst shit just to get a song out of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we self sabotage every day just to have something to write about.
Yeah. Yeah. So you obviously have said already influenced by rock. Who are some of those artists like growing up that in the rock space especially that like oh shit, like this is a dope thing, like what can I fuck with?
Um, Definitely. I mean, like I mentioned, Lane. So definitely Alice in Chains, Metallica, Pantera. Kiss was like the first band I ever seen when I was just a toddler, and when I seen Kiss, it was a two-part VHS tape, and when you put them
Yeah.
together, it makes one
One picture
picture.
for him. Yeah.
And I used to watch them two VCR tapes every single day, hop off my dresser, playing air guitar. I wanted to be Paul Stanley so bad. And that's really where everything started. As far as I knew I was wanted to be a rock star as a kid, and then in my teen years it kind of transitioned to rap just because like what was going on around me. And now I'm kind of like back to the you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, and I think there's also been the resurgence of the rock here lately,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah, that
it
helps too.
yeah, it's been crazy the popularity that rock is seeing again. And that's really dope that you say, bands like Metallica and Kiss and whatnot, because I think like it's gonna make me sound old as shit. I'm 39, but like, that's what I grew up on as well. That's what my dad listened to and all that, Zeppelin and Kiss and Metallica and Motley Crue and the whole nine
Yeah,
yards, right? And I think music went through this really kind of weird time where like then it transitioned into the grunge era, obviously, and pop punk
yeah,
and all of that. And then, hip hop. And now, like, especially like the unfortunately the drug glorifying hip hop,
hmm,
because we lost too many of those artists too. Like, do what you want to do, but do it smart, be safe about it.
yeah,
But now to see rock coming back, it's for me, it's this really cool thing where it's like, okay, we're getting back to where like we're allowed to be
yeah,
pissed off about stuff. We're allowed to yell about things. We're allowed to do whatever, but we can just have a good fucking time doing it.
yeah. And also good songwriting.
Yeah.
Like, dude, and shout out to country music because I do genuinely feel if country didn't have this new wave and this new big spark like it had, the rock wouldn't kind of would have been stagnant too. Because I
Yeah.
feel like rock is right behind this country spark. I feel like we're gonna be the next realm of what's popular and what's being listened to everywhere, and it's slowly already happening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because now,
Yeah.
I mean, look at country, dude. Country's became, and it always has been a humongous genre, but now the
Hmm.
blending of all the different styles that you hear in country, you would have never heard that back then,
No. No.
ever. You know,
Yeah.
so I think it's gonna open doors for the rock shit. I genuinely do. And we had a the hip hop era had such a great run the last fucking decade that I think people
Yeah.
were tired, not tired. I think too, losing a lot of them heavy hitters in the game kind of
Right.
showed people like, damn, now I want to hear something that makes me feel a little better because, that was a dark time and I don't want
Yeah.
to end up like this person or whatever. It's
Yeah.
crazy though. It's crazy. Music, I think we're heading in a good place.
I do too. I think, I do think there was a little bit of a we got tired of type of situation where it was like we got tired of only hearing synthetic music,
Hmm.
synthesized music in general. Like, so then live guitars, to your point of with country music and rock coming back, like the live guitars, the live drums, it's like there you can do some really dope shit with electronic stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But hearing something
The
live and
live
just feeling
element
it in your
just
chest
changes
is,
it.
dude, it's
Changes it.
insane.
And it's like too, I think a lot of the kids and just the listeners who were digging, a lot of the hip hop stuff, I think they're also growing up too and realizing like, hey, I can like hip hop, I can like country, I can like rock, I can like folk, alternative, anything. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And still be just as cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people get nervous when you blend genres. Some people don't really accept that at first. So I
Right.
think it's awesome that it's just crazy. Like even in the SoundCloud era, all them rappers wearing band T-shirts and
Yeah.
white bracelets and shit. And then now too, you got all these hood dudes doing country music. It's just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's just cool how music it just creates this wonderful thing, you know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
just love that it's getting to more of a diverse thing,
Yeah.
it's just fucking cool. It's fucking
Yeah,
cool.
and I think you're exactly right, and I think some of the like for the fusion and crossover stuff, I think, some of those key players have been like Jelly Roll, Post Malone,
Of course. Of course.
Mitchell Tenpenny is on a fucking State Champs pop punk song. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is happening here? You know what
Bro,
I mean?
Luke Bryan, Teddy Swims, and Quavo
Yeah.
just dropped a
Yeah, like what the
song.
fuck is
Like,
that?
that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
cool as hell though. Like, dude, I'm all for it.
I am
I'm
too
all
because
for it.
I truly believe so. Like, you make the scene, my site, my community, whatever you want to call it, is just about that. Like, everybody in the music industry, whether you're a fan, an artist, light tech, whatever, like, you guys make the scene. So like,
Yeah.
let's all come together and just make it as badass as we can.
Period. I mean, honestly, like even back then in the like every blended genre to me has had a moment that was just so sick. Like even when you look at new metal with the rap
Hmm.
influence in the new metal, and then like even like Tim McGraw and Nelly's song, just the
Yeah.
blend of the rap and the country, and now we got country rap. It's like
Uh-huh.
it's so cool to see different genres come together and make something great, because before, it would have been like, you're not supposed to do that in country, or you can't do that in rock, or and there still is that element, but I think everyone's slowly coming around to a place where it's like, hey, now I kind of want to hear everything in the one,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and I like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're in this really cool, like, I was gonna say renaissance, but I don't know that we've ever been exactly in the spot where we're in, where there is so much fusion and so much acceptance of the different genres that like
Yeah,
you said, everybody's like, fuck it, if this sounds good, I'm gonna listen to it. I don't care.
yeah, yeah. That's like the new punk rock element of it. It's
Yeah.
like, I want to do what's not supposed to, what you say is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man. So you've made your shift into the rock realm again. You just dropped the song Early Bird Gets the Whiskey. Talk a little bit about just kind of putting yourself back out there in this space and seeing the reactions, because I've skimmed some of the YouTube comments. For the most part, pretty positive shit is coming your way.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, dude, I was so nervous just because, like I said, when you do something new, people don't always hop on board at first. You
Yeah,
know, it's usually you usually get the tough ones at first, and then usually it comes around. But we've been doing pretty good. I have a real die hard support system in my fans. Like, and I think the vulnerability in the music has allowed the connection to be as strong as it is.
yeah,
You know, I genuinely feel that when people come to my show or when people listen to my music, they're being healed.
yeah,
And that's where that connection is. So it feels good though knowing that they're willing to transition with me. And then also, I think a lot of them are going through the same shit. You know, I'm going through like, yo, I was on a lot of drugs. I was going too hard. Now I am a parent, and now I'm not necessarily doing the things I was, but I still enjoy, your music, and honestly, I'm growing with you. You know, it's
yeah,
almost like that. Once you can establish that real organic relationship between the listener and the artist, I feel like that's when you have the most special shit. You know, they'll ride for you and you'll ride for them. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's almost like a cult in a way. It's
yeah.
fucking crazy.
It is a little weird. Like when you really think about music fans to artists, it's like, all right, like I'm still just a person. Chill out a little bit, but like thanks for being
Yeah.
here. Um, but no, I think you're right. I think when you are authentic, that
hmm
organic connection that you start making with fans is a bond that really ties them to you. And to your point, like they're growing up with you. They
Yeah.
don't get to stay 16. They don't, they're like you said,
Yeah. And
having kids and shit
life
like
is
that.
hard.
Yeah, life is fucked, man. So, I think when they start to see even just pieces of themselves in an artist such as yourself, where you got off drugs and maybe that inspired some others to get off that stuff, and
Yeah.
then they're going, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And now he's talking about this shit. I've been through this shit. And it feels like it creates such a strong community that, like, obviously you're going to lose some people here and there, just style changes or whatever.
Yeah.
But those core people, I think, are going to be your ride or dies for life, that'll do whatever needs to be done.
I think it's important too to always make sure you're letting the story be known.
Yeah.
You know, like, yo, this is why, things are like how it is, or this is why I was where I was at, or this is why things could have been a little better, but I'm not upset, because it
Yeah.
changed me. But just the stories and the whys are the important part, making sure they're up to date and are keeping up, and
Yeah.
understand what's going on.
Yeah, totally agree. Because I think, there have definitely, obviously, been artists over the years that don't, they're too concerned about the stage version of them
Yeah.
separating from the real life version of them.
Yeah.
And then you get a lot more of that fickleness out of the fan base, because it's like, oh, well, the
Yeah.
music changed, but you don't realize dude's dad died and like he's
Yeah.
going through shit. So
Yeah.
I agree. I think kind of like, not that they need to know every little detail of your life or anything, but letting them see behind the curtain and see the human really
Yeah.
does allow them to feel connected to you.
Yeah, you want them to feel like, and they should feel, you want it to feel like, they've known you for their whole life, or
Yeah.
they've went through it with you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because in a sense, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They're going through it with you. You know?
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things about music, and I think you can speak on this too, is it's okay to still like the old shit too. Like those
Oh
are
yeah.
all like snapshots or Polaroids of where we all were at that time. And it's
hmm
okay to look back on life and go, man, I remember when I was in this place, but don't forget to look at where you're at now and go, but I'm here now and this is dope.
Yeah, yeah. I always do some self reflecting. I always feel bad sometimes because I know a lot of my older stuff. They love it and they always will, and
Yeah.
it'll always be there to listen. But I am real big on where I'm at now.
Yep.
I think that that's very important to me. Like sometimes I can't even listen to some of my old music just because, like, I don't want to relive it.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes I get embarrassed, like fuck, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird thing that, again, I think some people that don't create maybe won't fully understand, but
yeah,
there are times as an artist when you look back on your stuff and you go, how did I let myself get there? Like,
yeah,
what the fuck was I doing? And I think people in general can look back at their lives and see points that they're like, you know,
yeah,
addicted to cocaine or whatever. And like, how did I let myself get there? And to your point, like, you don't always want to like get stuck in that and
yeah.
looking back and going like, man, now
Like
I
damn,
feel bad about myself
yeah,
because of where I was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's tough, man. And like on the mental health side, I'm sure you've heard this before, but like if you're stuck living in the past and looking at, the reflection of what happened, that's signs of depression and
Mhm.
whatnot, like because you're stuck. When you're anxious, you're looking to the future, worried about what's going to happen next. And
Yeah,
so many people, to your point about like wanting to be in the middle, like, I just want to be present. I just
yeah,
need to be in this moment right now.
yeah. And it's wild you said that too, because I've been so much more anxious lately. I smoke a lot of weed, and I was like, man, should I stop smoking weed now? But I think it's just like what you're saying. I'm just so excited, and I don't know what's gonna happen, and but that's the cool part. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I want all this cool stuff to happen. I'm just I'm at that motivated stage too, which I think can bring on a lot of anxiety because it's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Is this
Yeah.
gonna work? Is it not gonna work? Did this sound good? Does it sound bad? Am I meant for this? Am I not? It's just like you go through all this, you go down the rabbit hole, and it's
Yeah.
easy to do as an artist.
And I think, with that too is, you start getting in that rabbit hole and then it feels like you can't grab the edge and just stop. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I'm falling. I'm Alice in Wonderland, right? I'm just falling down this hole and I just want to grab on and stop for a minute.
yeah,
And I think, that's where you mentioned having the support system and whatnot. That's where that support system comes in sometimes where like, guys, I'm so fucking worried about X, Y, and Z. And they go, yeah, but you're worried about X, Y, and Z. You're at LMNOP right now. Like, let's figure
yeah,
this shit out.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
wow.
yeah, we got a little deep there. It's fine. Hopefully it'll
Nah,
help some
you're
people.
good.
You know what I mean?
Hey,
Um,
that's the good shit. That's what they want to know. They want to
yeah,
know the
yeah,
truth.
for sure. And like you said, like pulling back that curtain and seeing the person. This is what I am going through. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about like with Early Bird Gets the Worm. You kind of got to do a few first. You first time you worked with a few people. You're kind of the first. It's your first rock song back out in the market. What's that been like to like open the door because you've done so much of this by yourself for so long?
Yeah. Um. I again. I didn't expect any of it. My boy Andrew Bayless, who's a real big producer in the rock world, country world. Done plenty of records with numerous artists from like Jelly Roll, things like that. Um, I had known him for years and never thought to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, it's my buddy, and he was like, I do the rock stuff. So my bro set up the session, and first session we were just kind of getting acquainted. He brought a writer by the name of Connor Matthews in, and first session we are like, okay, we actually got something. Like Doobie probably could do some rock stuff. The next day we did Early Bird Gets the Whiskey, and that was the second rock song I ever recorded.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody kind of looked at each other like, oh shit. Okay, we actually might have something a little bigger than what we planned. And then after that, every fucking song we make now, it just seems like, oh God, this could be in a video game. This could be in a stadium. It sounds big. It's just crazy. I
Yeah.
definitely wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a cool feeling too, though, right? Because like, sure, you're not expecting it, but when you start to hear your own stuff back and you start to imagine those things where like, man, this is at the halftime show of a football game, or you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like whatever it is, I could see this in a commercial or a video game or whatever. It's like, okay, like, so I know even if I'm the only one that fucks with it, I know that I love what I'm putting out. Cause like the
Yeah.
flip side of that coin would be this is the worst music I've ever fucking made. Like we have to stop.
Yeah, I think the feeling good about it too, like we were talking earlier, like it seemed like the only records that everyone wanted to hear is the one where I was talking about things that I really wasn't doing anymore. I wasn't enjoying,
Yeah.
that version of me. And like now, there's just a level of being so comfortable because I'm now, there's no ego, there's no anything in my way. I could just be me. It's like I'm a brand new artist again,
Yeah.
literally like a clean slate. Like, dude, I could just be me and not have to think about anything extra. Like, is this cool enough? Or I wonder if they'll like this. And then you go to hear that music and you're not proud of it. You're like, dude, I can't even go to the gas station and tell someone I'm an artist just because like if I played this, I'd be embarrassed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I think that is a good point too. As far as like the genre switch up, like sure, obviously we've mentioned you have the established fan base, but like from this point on, right, it's a new artist. Like
Yeah.
this is a whole new project.
It's crazy. It feels good though. Like I really feel, especially after getting clean in that time period where I really didn't think I was gonna find what I was meant to be anymore at that stage, and it's just more reassuring. It's kind of cool how life works out. You just never know, and then one day you figure it out, and you're like, oh shit, this is what I
Yeah.
was looking for. And it always
Yeah.
hits you when you least expect it.
Absolutely.
It's
Was
crazy.
there a kind of like a light switch moment for you that you were like, okay, it's time to go down the rock road? Like, was there a song that you heard that triggered it for you, or was it just I want to try this direction and run with it?
It's so funny. Even all these years in rap music, I'd wake up, hop in the shower, throw on some Alice in Chains. I would literally,
Yeah.
I listened to more other genres than I did rap, and that was just like throughout my whole rap career.
Yeah.
So like, I had been like kind of dibbling and dabbling with my what I would have called my own version of rock before I got with
Hmm.
Bayless and before we really found the sound. It was still very hip hop leaning, and it just wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
And for like a year before I fully transitioned, I just kept saying it. Something told me, and I was like, man, I really just think I want to do rock music. Like I really genuinely feel in my heart. I started experimenting more with my voice, and then I really found my like a voice that I never knew was there.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I think I could actually do some pretty cool rock shit. But I wasn't expecting nothing on the level as what it's been. And I don't know, man. This shit is just wild. It blows my mind. But
Yeah.
my mom raised me on rock, taking me to shows, being around all these rock stars since a kid, it just it was already molded. That's why when I found my voice I never knew I had, it was just already there.
Yeah.
It's just natural, and that's why it feels so good because it just feels like it's so natural.
Yeah. It's like you went to the cabinet, opened the door, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's been here all along. Like, let's
Oh,
take this one out.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Um, So obviously you're working on a ton of new music. What's the end of the year is coming up, but what's 2025 kind of look like for you? Are we looking at trying to do an EP? Are you pushing for a full length? What are you planning for people?
So right now the goal is to roll out with the next single. We're working on an album. The first single was obviously Early Bird Gets the Whiskey. We're gonna ride that out until the end of the year. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
music business they shut down.
Yeah,
Spend time with the family, all that good stuff, right? And top of the year, we're gonna drop the second single and push that for about a month or three.
okay.
And then the plan is to right now the plan is to drop the album sometime after March, more than
Yeah,
likely. But yeah, it'll be a full length album. Thinking about doing a deluxe with like a couple covers so
yeah,
people can hear me also like paying homage to the bands that I love, but also like more in that space with songs that they already recognize.
yeah,
Yeah, album for sure, and then we'll probably tour at the end of the year. So
yeah,
2025 is gonna be the year.
yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like it's it's funny that sometimes, like funny in the ironic way, that sometimes artists start to make these transitions and then they get cold feet, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, let's slow play this or whatever. And it's like, no, that's not the move, man. Like, go
yeah,
all in, because if it fails and you went all in, at least you know you gave 100%.
yeah,
But if you're like, well, I'll give 30% and then it fails, it's like, well, but you barely tried. You didn't
yeah.
put
I
it
think
there.
that's where I
So
was at in the rap space.
yeah,
Towards the tail end, like the last couple years, I was like, man, I'm not even. I've noticed myself. I was like, dude, I don't even want to do this. Like, I don't even care. I'm tired of trying. Like, I was doing the bare minimum and then being mad at myself because it wasn't working.
right.
And I was like, I gotta figure something out. I gotta like love what I'm doing and put my all into it, full send it, and really go balls to the wall. And then, like you said, if it doesn't work, then I don't know what the fuck. I
Right.
don't. I don't. Hey, I don't know what else I'm gonna do here.
Well, let's be honest. You're a man of many talents, right? Like, production could happen. There's other
Yeah,
things you could do.
We'll work it out. We'll work it
Yeah.
out. I think
Yeah.
the happiness part of it is the most important thing for me right now. Just
Right.
being genuinely happy with what's going on around me. Having the right folks around me, the right energy, is very important. Sometimes you don't realize that some of them doors didn't open because of what you have going on around you, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes school and just the stigmas and energies, if it's negative, it's negative, and people might not want to be a part of that. So
Yeah.
you got to make people want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think I had a lot of self-reflecting. I had to a lot of shit to get sorted with my business. I was, like I said, I was a drug addict. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know what my deals were. I just didn't care. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And now it's like that'll never happen. Like now I'm like, oh, what's this? We it's just night and day for real. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I think, I don't want to speak for you on this, but I think the kid has a factor in that, right? Like, because now
Hundred
it's
percent.
not just you. I've got someone else I have to look out for.
100%. If we weren't gonna have my son, I would have still been doing drugs or probably dead by this point, just to be frank,
Yeah.
because we were just going way too hard. And I'm so happy I had my son because he really sat me down, was like, yo, you gotta be a better man. Like, and
Yeah.
that's cool. That's okay. Like, you should definitely like work on yourself and be a better person, because everything you do now will reflect on him, and you don't want him carrying the same traumas and turmoil just because you're too fucking on your high horse to get your shit together.
Yeah.
I don't my goal was to break generational curses. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That's what I decided I wanted to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw a picture, like a little motivational picture thing the other day that said, it's always ran in my family, but I killed it. And like,
Man, I love that.
right? Like I
I'm
started
gonna
thinking
start
about some of
saying
my
that.
shit and I'm like, fuck yeah, like, yeah, I killed it. It did run in the family, but I killed that, you know? So I think that's just a really powerful thing. And especially with the son, like it gives you that feeling of like, I can be that shield and sword. Like I can kill the
Hmm.
thing so that he doesn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, I want him to just be the kind, caring, innocent child that he is. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I want him to
As long
know,
as possible, right?
yeah, for as long, for as long as I can,
Yeah.
until we get in the teen years.
Yep. Yep.
But
It,
yeah, I love that because it calms me.
right.
It lets me know like, hey, man, this is all that matters is the love, in the world. That's the important thing right there.
Yep.
You have something to always remind you why you can't go back to the version of you that you don't like.
Right. Yeah. And that, like, I think not to harp on anybody or like try to put anybody down, but I think that is one of the things that people forget is like just because your child's in your life now, like if you go back to that life,
Yeah,
that child's not going to stick around one
yeah.
way or the other, you know, whether it's CPS involvement, family involvement, they're just old enough to not want to fuck with you. Like it's going to break that bond.
It takes its toll, man. People, and this goes for especially your children, who you're the only parent they have, so
Right.
their first ideas of what people are supposed to be for real in the world it starts with home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it is one of them things. It's like if you fall back into them other patterns, you know, you might not give a fuck about nothing but yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's terrible. Like you
Yeah.
you brought this child into this world. You know what I'm saying? And you can't just leave him on his own just
Right.
because that's what your folks did to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's an awesome thing though. It's always good. It's always good to have that reminder. I genuinely don't know that I'd be here without having my son.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that we got heavy, I'm going to lighten the mood. As we transition to the end, I refuse to think of better questions. So I bought this game called Hot Takes. It's just like
Let's
shitty
go.
opinions and stuff. And we'll see if you agree, disagree, if you want to expand on them, whatever. The first one's super fitting because we're in the holiday season. Santa's North Pole is just a glorified sweatshop.
Am I supposed to say yes or no? I don't.
Yeah, like, do you agree, disagree? Do you have thoughts about it?
Santa's North Pole is just a glorified sweatshop. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say no because Santa's a liar.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Let's see. Let's go with in most cases, you need a college degree to be successful.
Absolutely not. In fact, I think unless you know what you want to do in that calls for college, it's the biggest fucking waste of time. I didn't even finish high school, and I'm not boasting or bragging,
Right.
but all that time that would have been spent on going to college, I probably wouldn't be where I was at because I would have been dedicating my time and energy to the wrong things. I knew what I wanted. It was music. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew that if I dedicated my time to this and put in the hard work, I believed since I was in middle school, I knew that one day music will pay off. I knew it
Yeah,
100% because I wasn't going to give up. And I think a lot of people don't understand college is sometimes just a money play. Like, dude,
bro.
you're paying someone who probably wouldn't give a fuck if you passed or failed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you're in debt for all these years after,
Yeah.
still trying to find the career. It's like, for me specifically, no.
I mean, I only got my associates, but I've never used what I got my associate's degree in. I've never used it for any fucking job I've ever had.
Yeah.
So like, sure, certain, to your point, like certain jobs, if you know I'm going to be an electrical engineer, like that's
Yeah,
my goal.
yeah, you're gonna probably need to
Absolutely.
go to college.
Right.
You know?
But you're like, and they're trade school, man. Like there are
Yeah,
all kinds of fucking jobs out there for carpentry, HVAC that makes stupid fucking money. And all you have to
yeah.
do is go to trade school.
I
Like,
think I think too, like man, one thing that it needs to be normal or it needs to happen is like in regular schooling, like regular high school, why don't we have like business classes and people
yeah,
show you how to do your taxes and like
yeah.
no, they teach you they have history class that teaches you a bunch of miscellaneous history that 90% of it is fucking fake. But then I don't know how to even go about paying my taxes. You know what I'm
You
saying?
forced me to learn a fucking foreign language that
It's
I'm
like a
never going to
setup.
use.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you setting me up to fail here. My brain is being pulled in the wrong directions. Like
Yep.
set me up with something that's helpful, useful, that will actually help me when when I need it most.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't go to McDonald's and be like, yo, did you know Christopher Columbus? No.
Guess what? It's still $19 for your Big Mac. Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Like,
We only speak math here. I'm not
right.
sure what
Let's go with ketchup is better than any other condiment.
never. I'm not a ketchup guy whatsoever, and I'm probably going with like ranch or like anything to do with honey, like a hot honey barbecue, something like that.
I see, I would agree. Like, and I tease her all the time. My youngest niece
Hmm.
doesn't use any sort of dipping sauces. And I'm like, you're a fucking sociopath. Like,
Here,
she will get chicken nuggets from McDonald's, which are the driest chicken nuggets in the
no
world.
dip.
No dip, not ketchup, not ranch, barbecue, nothing. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
You should have got a burger.
right. Like something
That's
blows
good.
my mind. Let's go with that. This will be the last one. Diet soda is actually worse than regular soda. I think they mean health wise, but taste
Okay, I was
wise,
gonna say, is this a
absolutely.
trick question?
Yeah, taste wise, absolutely. But I think they mean
Yeah.
health wise.
I think we can all agree that taste wise, the diet doesn't hit like the regular. And I
Right.
think that's with everything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess health reasons, the diet might be a better go to.
Is it though? I mean, I truly don't
But
know. But wasn't there a whole thing about like that aspartame fake sugar that they were
I feel
using or
like
something?
they're lying to us regardless. We don't know what we're eating or putting
Yeah.
in. Honestly, like we don't know anyway. So to tell the truth, shit, it could be even worse for all I fucking know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep. Absolutely, man. I've had a ton of fun in this conversation, dude. Definitely think that we'll link up. We'll do one of the mental health episodes
I would
specifically.
love to. I've been wanting to do more of that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll get with Tim. We'll figure that one out for sure. But kind of the wrap up here is going to be obviously I'll link all your socials. Tell people where to find you, what's the best way to interact with you, all that fun stuff.
Um, if you're looking for anything to do with Doobie on every social media, it's pretty much just Doobie. But TikTok's the only one. Somebody stole my name, which I'm gonna find you. Um, Doobie number 8 on TikTok. But yeah, I usually respond to as many people as I can on social. So yeah, definitely reach out.
Awesome, man. Like I said, great time talking. I'm stoked for you because I think, even before this conversation, like listening to the old stuff, hearing Early Bird, like you can tell there's a shift in what your mindset is and everything. And I'm really excited to see where that takes you because I think you were where you were when you made that music previously, and it is what it is, right? But I think that hearing the new stuff already, there's something underlying in it that says I'm moving forward. And I really
Yeah.
like that for you.
Thank you. That means the world to me, honestly. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your time as well, man. This conversation has actually been sick. A lot of people come and we do these things and they just don't know what the fuck is going on. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you for, doing your research and actually knowing and having good shit to talk about, that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll get with Tim. We'll figure out time to do the mental health one probably after the holidays. That way you can
Perfect.
enjoy time and whatnot. And we'll definitely do that.
Sounds good to me, man. You have a great rest of your evening.
Awesome, man. You too.
All right.
All right. See ya.